What's up, everybody? This is your boy DC Black coming to you with a yet another reaction. And what better trailer to react to than Spider-Man Far From Home? Now, I do need to preface this by saying a couple things. Number one, if you have not seen Spider-Man, if you have not seen Avengers Endgame, as we're about to see here, do not watch this trailer. As I will repeat one more time, if you have not seen Avengers Endgame, this is not the trailer for you. Go back, go watch the movie, come back to this channel here, save point, and watch this reaction, as I am going to watch it with you. Also, to preface this, I have seen the trailer already, as I could not wait to check this out. But I would like to still react to it. I want to talk about a few things, maybe talk about some theories as we kind of walk through this. All right, so let's check it out.
The Spider-Man Far From Home trailer is about to play, but if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame yet, stop watching because there's some serious spoilers about to come up. But if you have seen Avengers Endgame, enjoy the trailer.
It's interesting that
Everywhere I
he says
go,
this, and he
I see his
everything.
face. I just really miss him.
Yeah, I miss him too. I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone.
You gonna be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your jobs.
Oh. I'm kidding. Look, keep up the
Shots
good
fired.
work because I am going on vacation.
I like how he moves around in the Iron Spider suit.
I don't
I
really
like
want to
how he
talk to
moves
Nick
around.
Fury.
It's pretty cool.
Why?
Because if you don't talk to him, then I have to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. You sent Nick Fury to voicemail?
I gotta go.
You do not ghost Nick Fury.
What up, dorks? What's up? We're just talking about the trip.
I hate her
I'm here in
depiction
St.
of
Marco
MJ.
Polo's. Oh,
I think MJ really likes me.
that reminds me when I first fell in love.
You're a very difficult person to contact, Spider-Man. This is Mr. Beck.
We could have used someone like you on my world.
Your world?
Beck is from Earth, just not ours. The snap tore a hole in our dimension.
You're saying there's a multiverse?
We have a job to do, and you're coming with us.
There's gotta be someone else you can use. What about Thor?
Off-world.
Captain Marvel?
Unavailable.
But I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
What do you want, Peter?
I want to go back on my trip with the girl who I really like and tell her how I feel. MJ, I
am Spider-Man.
No, of course I'm not.
I mean, it's kind of obvious.
You're right, you may not be ready, but this is my responsibility.
Saving the world requires sacrifice.
I love how
Sometimes
Mysterio
people
looks.
die.
Oh my God.
I just always feel like I'm putting my friends in danger. The world needs the next Iron Man.
You going to step up or not?
Spider-Man.
Gotta get you guys out of here. Get on the jet. Who are you? I work with Spider-Man.
You work for Spider-Man?
I work with Spider-Man, not for Spider-Man. New plan.
See, so that was the trailer. We're gonna kind of walk through this because there's a couple of things that I do want to talk about. So let's kind of walk this back just a little bit.
The Spider-Man Far From Home trailer is about to play, but if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame yet, stop watching because there's some serious spoilers about to come up. But if you have seen Avengers Endgame, enjoy the trailer.
Everywhere I go, I see his face. I just really miss him.
Now, I was kind of wondering when I watched it, after Endgame, I was kind of wondering how they were going to do Spider-Man, because my first theory when they announced that Spider-Man was kind of going to close I lost the words. Phase 3. Apologize for that. I lost my words for a second. But yes, when it was going to close out Phase 3, I was thinking like, so all the Spider-Man movies are about to be prequels. That's kind of messed up. But when they said this isn't going to be a prequel, it's going to follow right behind Endgame, I wonder how were they going to tackle superheroes with PTSD. That would actually be an interesting topic to cover. DC is kind of covering it in Crisis, something like that. Heroes in Crisis. Yeah, there we go. It's a crappy comic book. Don't even bother reading it. But I thought this would be I thought this would be actually pretty cool. So I was really glad that they decided to go ahead and tackle this with Spider-Man. Also, too, I like the fact that Tony was struggling with the fact that he lost Peter, and now Peter is struggling with the fact that he lost Tony. But there's no gauntlet to go get him back.
Yeah, I miss him too. I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone.
Now, this is something that I don't want. I do not want Peter Parker they're trying to turn Peter Parker into Tony. I do not want that. Because even in the comic books where during the Civil War, when Tony basically took Peter under his wing, it wasn't one of those things that was necessarily felt. It fit in that story. It doesn't fit here, and I don't want them to kind of take that into consideration and make him into like Tony. Now I can see him being Tony in the sense that every time there's something going on in New York, that Spider-Man shows up, because I mean it's New York. So I can kind of see that being in a sense of like, oh, well, he's like Tony, and that moving forward, Spider-Man is going to carry the MCU, where you're going to see Spider-Man a lot, which I would be like, okay, well, that's good. Let's not beat Spider-Man into the ground where he is always in a movie and he's not really necessarily needed. But if that's kind of going to be the route they're going, okay. But I don't like this whole idea of them trying to compare him to Tony or trying to make him into the next Tony Stark, so to speak. But let's keep going, because there's some other things I want to point out that I'm really actually kind of excited to talk about.
You gonna be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your job.
That was disrespectful.
I'm kidding. Look, keep up the good work, because I am going on vacation.
Heads up, Nick Fury's calling you.
I don't really want to talk to Nick
Answer
Fury.
the phone.
Why?
Because if you don't talk to him, then I have to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. You sent Nick Fury to voicemail?
I gotta go.
You do not ghost Nick Fury.
What up, dorks?
What's up? We're just talking about the trip.
I'm here in St. Marco Polo's. Oh,
I think MJ really likes me.
that reminds me when I first fell in love.
Okay, now
You're
we're
a
kind of
very
getting to
difficult person to contact.
Spider-Man?
This is Mr. Beck.
We could have used someone like you on my world.
Your world?
Beck is from Earth, just not ours. The snap tore a hole in our dimension.
Now, I am kind of excited about this. Here's why. My theory is that they're going to use. I'm kind of waxing and waning with this theory, but hear me out. So, one of my theories is that they're going to be using Ultimate Mysterio, which for this either Ultimate Mysterio or Mysterio from the Spider-Man crossover comic book. Now, I'm going to kind of briefly explain that. In the Spider-Man crossover with Peter Parker and Miles Morales, Mysterio actually came from the 616, the primary Marvel universe, and went to the Ultimate Universe and did some stuff there. And you find out that Mysterio was just Earth 616 Mysterio. My theory is that that's what's happening here, and he came from another Earth to basically kind of mess some stuff up here. And by the end of this movie, we're going to see the introduction of maybe like a post-credit scene or an end-credit scene before the movie before the credits show, that we're going to see this idea that there's more than one universe, and he came from another universe, and we may see a hero or two come from that same universe where Mysterio came from. Or here's my theory number two. Theory number two, it says that this is going to be how they introduce the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, Galactus, all that. That's how Doctor Doom. That's how they're going to introduce all that. Here's how. So if you guys remember, in Avengers Endgame, they tried to make it sound like that the timeline was all neatly tied up in a nice little pretty bow. No mistakes was made, and everything went back to the way it was. It didn't. Number one, Loki got freed. Number two, Cap stayed when he wasn't supposed to. And number three, they killed Thanos from 2014, which means the events, and there's a timeline out there where the battle in Wakanda never happened, the destruction of the North Core never happened, as well as the killing of all of the Asgardians, including Heimdall and that other Loki, never happened. So you technically have two Lokis that is out there running free in two separate timelines. Not only that, but you also have a timeline where Tony Stark didn't die, because the fight with Thanos never happened, because Thanos in the 2014 Thanos died, so that never happened. You also have a fight. You have a time in that same timeline. Not only does Tony not die, but all of the Infinity Stones are safe, because then there's no one to gather them. So essentially, nothing happens. So Vision, you would still assume that the Civil War, that crappy Civil War, still happened. Yes, I'm calling it crappy because it was crappy and it was half baked. You're assuming that happened. That still happened. That Black Panther and everything else is still introduced, because you guys got to remember, just because there's another timeline, that doesn't mean necessarily that there's drastic things to change. It could just be small, minor things. But with the Eternals movie, even being a gateway to that, the Eternals, because that will be a movie coming out, you can say that the Eternals sense that there's a change in the timeline, and through this movie they discover things did change drastically, because one of their own, who is Thanos, was killed. And because he was killed, now all this stuff has changed. Now, how does X-Men come into play? This is how it happens. In that other timeline where the snap never happened, Thanos is dead, blah blah blah, you can introduce that is the timeline where the X-Men and Fantastic Four exist. Not only that, you can also, in that rift that they're talking, that Nick Fury brings up, you can also say in that same video, in that same strain, that all these things start seeping out of the universe. This is how you build up to Avengers versus X-Men. You can build up to that fight, because you can say that all of this stuff spills out. Galactus, Silver Surfer, the Fantastic Four can actually come from another dimension and have no idea where they are. And all of this is coming from divergent timelines and alternate realities that the Ancient One told Bruce Banner or Professor Hulk rather, would happen. Also, this starts setting you up for Secret Wars. The Russo brothers said that they wasn't directing any more Avengers movies or any Marvel movies, but they want to do Secret Wars by Jonathan Hickman, because they love that story. This is a perfect way to give them that. You start building and it will be a slow burn. It won't be like an immediate, okay, Infinity, like how the Infinity Saga was 4 phases. You can do the Secret Wars phase for like 5-6 phases and build that up until you eventually do get Secret Wars, and you can bring back like you can bring back Captain America, Steve Rogers. You can bring back Tony Stark. All these characters you could possibly bring back, or you can keep them killed off, or you can just permanently kill them off. You could actually bring back Black Widow this way, because Black Widow can come back from an alternate universe where she never had Hawkeye to turn her back good, or turn her good, or Nick Fury to turn her good. You can do it where Natasha's actually the enemy, or you can do it where in an alternate reality the Skrulls took over the Earth and Black Widow's a Skrull. Secret Invasion. You can set up Secret Invasion this way. All this stuff can come out just by saying there was a ripple in space. Dimensions now can cross over. This is also a perfect way for you to introduce the incursions. So in Jonathan Hickman's Avengers, they introduced this idea of incursions where basically Earths were colliding into each other, exploding. Very interesting comic book. Not gonna really get into it. Point is that these worlds were colliding into each other and destroying all reality, and destroying both Earths. Well, you can say that this ripple is causing a domino effect that's making all the Earths crash into each other. Like I said, great way to set up Secret Wars. But I think that right there, that throwaway line, I think that's something that's going to appear in the movie, because I think the next phase or next couple phases, they may try to say none of this happens on the same Earth as Endgame and Far From Home. This is an entirely different Earth. Though this Earth is very similar to that other Earth, the difference is that you could also bring Thanos back, because you could say in this on this Earth, either Thanos had died on the other Earth, but you can say that because of these ripples, Thanos discovers that these ripples happen, and he goes to a different Earth to get the Infinity Stones. You can say that, or he realizes that getting the Infinity Stones, bad idea. You can introduce Mistress Death that way. I don't know if you guys heard, but in the deleted scenes that the Russo brothers they basically released, the Living Tribunal was actually in. The Living Tribunal was in Endgame or Infinity War, one of the two. Anyway, and the Living Tribunal is basically the judge and jury of the universe or multiverse. Other multiverse, one of the two. But it's a very powerful entity, and it's a universe, and it actually is a multiverse, because the Living Tribunal is a multiversal entity. It's a constant. So I think that's kind of where they're leading to. But there's some other things I want to point out in this trailer.
You're saying there's a multiverse?
We have a job to do.
Yeah.
You're coming with us.
There's gotta be someone else you can use. What about Thor?
Off-world.
Captain Marvel?
Unavailable.
First off, let's talk about that. I feel like that's going to be Captain Marvel's weakness, is the fact that she's never there. Earth needs her, but she is nowhere to be found. None of the time. And it's going to be the regular Avengers. And then what I don't want is that, oh yeah, it's always the regular Avengers that gotta just doing stuff, and then Captain Marvel just comes to get the victory and then leaves again. And the other Avengers that's on Earth have to clean up. Do cleanup after she just one woman wrecks the whole team. I don't want that. I don't think anybody wants that.
But I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Now, this costume here I actually really like, because this is reminiscent. I don't know if you guys played the Spider-Man game, but this is reminiscent, or seen Into the Spider-Verse actually. But this is reminiscent of the Spider-Man noir costume. This is basically him. Only thing that's different is the fact that, number one, it looks better than it was in the noir comic book, just because it's from current timeline and it's a stealth suit. But he's also missing a trench coat too, if you guys saw the animated Into the Spider-Verse movie. But I like this callback. I think it's really cool.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
What
I love saying that.
I want to go back on my trip with the girl who I really like and tell her how I feel. MJ,
I'm Spiderman.
I don't like MJ at all. Like, her portrayal of MJ is just not MJ at all, in my opinion.
No, of course I'm not.
Unless it's like the
I mean,
Ultimate
it's
one. I didn't really read
kind of
the Ultimate
obvious.
Spider-Man like that.
You're right, you may not be ready,
I
but
know
this
a
is
little
my
bit about it.
responsibility.
Now let's just talk about Fishbowl Mysterio. I think this looks so cool. The suit, how his powers look, even if it's all just even if the villains in this movie, the Elementals, are not real and they're just Mysterio doing stuff, his suit looks so cool. Even the fishbowl on his head looks sweet. Like, I never thought that when I was growing up, I never really cared for Mysterio. So I thought Mysterio was kind of lame. Like, he's just a movie props person that would just like throw hollow cubes to make you think stuff that's there and it's really not. I thought he was kind of like a poor man's Scarecrow, but Scarecrow was a lot better. But yeah, his suit looks so sweet.
Saving the world requires sacrifice. Sometimes people die.
I just always feel like I'm putting my friends in danger. The world needs the next Iron Man.
See, it's that line right there, when he says the world needs the next Iron Man. I hope he learns by the end of this movie that, yeah, the world may need the next Iron Man, but it's not you. That you should just be you. Like, you shouldn't have to worry about being somebody else. Like, you can't be Tony Stark. You can only be the best you can be. And your job is to be Spider-Man. So, go be Spider-Man.
You going to step up or not?
Out of here! Get on the jet!
Who are you?
I work with Spider-Man.
You work for Spider-Man?
I work with Spider-Man, not for Spider-Man.
First
New
off,
plan.
comes out July 2nd. And we also still haven't seen the Ditko Spider-Man suit, by the way. This is that's a Spider-Man suit from the actual first issue of Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy, I believe it's called. But yeah, so I'll be kind of interested to see where this goes. Supposedly Spider-Man gets a new suit in every one of his movies, or I guess every one of his movies, or I think every movie he appears in, he's going to get a new suit. So, and Spider-Man has had a lot of them. Like, this man has changed clothes more times. So I'll be looking forward to that. I'm definitely gonna go see the movie, of course, because I actually do like Spider-Man. Despite what they're currently doing to the character, what has been done to the character right now in the comic books, Spider-Man is actually pretty good. So even though I don't like Hunted, not every issue, but Hunted is okay. But needless to say, I actually do like Spider-Man. I grew up on Spider-Man in the 90s, even followed like through the rest of the cartoons after that. Spider-Man 99, played the games and stuff, even read the comic books. So I'm a fan of Spider-Man. So I'll be looking forward to see what goes with this. I didn't really care too much for Homecoming, in my opinion. I just think that was it was just pandering, and most of the stuff that was in the trailer did not show up in the movie. The part that I was excited for, seeing him and Iron Man work together, that was advertised, but it didn't show up in the movie. So I'm wondering how much of this is actually going to show up in this movie. So with that being said, I'm going to close off here. If you guys would like this and want to see more of it, please hit that like button. Leave a comment down below telling me what you guys think, or are you going to see this movie? Yeah, and keep a lookout. I'll be doing some more Let's Plays of Mortal Kombat and Sekiro, unfortunately. So, with that being said, I will see you when I see you. Peace.